Hi, I'm Anne Hogan. I'm Dean of the College of Performing Arts and the Musco Center for the Arts here at Chapman University in Southern California. And it is my pleasure today to be speaking with Dwight Rhoden. Dwight has performed with Dayton Contemporary Dance, the Ballet Jazz of Montreal, and he was a principal dancer with Alvin Ailey. Dwight is the co-founder and artistic director of Complexions Contemporary Ballet, and he is also the principal choreographer for Complexions. Dwight has been hailed by the New York Times as one of the most sought after choreographers of the day, and his works have been performed in over 20 countries at top venues. Dwight is also a professor of dance here at Chapman University. Dwight, welcome. We're so glad to have you. Our students love you. So thank you for being with me.
And I love them. I love them.
I know.
Thank you for having me. This is so great that we're coming to the Musco. I'm so excited about it. So thank you.
Yeah, so we are so excited. So Complexions Contemporary Ballet is going to be performing at the Musco Center on October 18th. It's a Saturday night, and you'll be the first of 3 companies to be featured in the Mirabelle Musco Contemporary Dance Series. And yeah, it's going to be fantastic. But I was looking at the repertoire that you're going to be performing, and my God, Dwight, it's just an amazingly varied evening, and it's really also showcasing your work kind of throughout your career with Complexion. So yeah, I thought maybe we could just start by unpacking a bit. I think you're going to be starting with This Time with Feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just celebrated our 30th anniversary season last year. And so we brought back a lot of works that kind of chronicled our history starting, 30 years ago. And so we managed to put together a very exciting program with varied themes, but also different music and textures of movement. And so I can tell you a little bit about that. This Time with Feeling.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, This Time with Feeling was created last season for the 30th anniversary. So that is one of the newer works that's on the program. It's a neoclassical work. My inspiration for the work itself was Balanchine's Theme and Variations, but
I love that ballet.
but it's by no means theme and variation. It quickly goes off of that, but it's very contemporary and contemporary ballet, and really looks at, which I know we will talk about a little bit more, but looks at Nique, which is the foundational technique, and you can really see it in this work, like that idea. And so that is for 5 couples and a soloist. And the music, as I said, was by David Rosenblatt. One of the next piece on the program is called Deeply, and that is to the music of Arvo Part. And this is a trio. And these are 3 of our senior dancers are performing that. So I'm so excited that that will be at the Musco as well. We are then doing another work called Gone, which is to the music of Odetta. So it's like a work song, and they really just sing Another Man Done Gone. And this ballet was created even before I had a company. It was created back in 1991.
Wow.
And so this is kind of a staple in the rep. It's for 3 guys, and they are passionately trying to escape this place that is not necessarily a great place. But the spirit and the brotherhood is just amazing that happens between 3 guys on stage dancing to Odetta. Then my signature work, which is Ave Maria, was created. It's a pas de deux. Many companies around the country do this pas de deux. It kind of brought me into the ballet world back in 1995 is when it was choreographed. So it is 30 years old. And that's a traditional Caccini version of Ave Maria.
I was watching clips of that recently. Stunning, absolutely stunning.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny because it's this 4-minute duet that has just had staying power, and I'm grateful for that. Been around. And then we closed the first act with a piece called Mercy. I created Mercy back after 9/11. And it was my response to that. It's a large, like 45-minute ballet. Of course, we're only doing 6 minutes, which is the finale. And the music is Hans Zimmer. Then we have an intermission, and then we come back and we're doing For Crying Out Loud, which is My latest work I did also for the 30th anniversary to the music of U2. And
Oh,
these are the songs that we all know and love. Um, Oops, I think I just messed that up. We are actually doing Love Rocks,
that's right.
the
That's what we
Musco.
are. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have so many programs on so many tours.
No, absolutely. But we're rocking it at the end.
We are
We're
rocking
rocking
it
it
with
at the end.
Lenny Kravitz.
I know. From Ave Maria to Lenny Kravitz in one intermission. That is, if that
Yeah.
doesn't show range.
Well, fun fact about Lenny Kravitz is I worked with Lenny Kravitz really early in my career because I
Did
was
you?
actually hired to work with Prince, and I was choreographing an evening that he was composing music to, and then also the 1999 tour, which many of us remember. I do.
I sure
Um,
do.
and so I was involved in that time, and Lenny was the opener for one of our shows, and we met there,
Wow.
and we stayed connected over the years. I love his music, and I really wanted to do a ballet to his music, and he said yes, and so we did it, and so we're bringing that to Musco as well.
That's awesome. Has he seen the ballet?
Only on video. He was
Okay.
so sweet because on opening night when we premiered it, he got on FaceTime, and as we were right before we opened the ballet, I put the phone up, and all the dancers said hello, and he wished them a great opening night.
Oh, that is so cool.
And
That is so
this
cool.
man is so busy, but he managed to. But that's just the kind of guy he is. He's just
Yeah.
really sweet, and he loves the music and the work. He loves the art. So.
Yeah. Well, I think it also says something about your work and the stature of Complexions, which is, just it's an amazing, amazing company. And they're just exuberant physicality and artistry. And, I mean, I always think of your work as just continuing to kind of push the borders of what we think about dance and ballet and contemporary ballet. And but it's fabulous because I didn't even realize that it had, from even before you formed Complexions. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's it's going to be great. And I think that our students are going to have a moment in the performance.
They are. I am
Yeah.
working on a I'm working on a new piece for fall faculty, which is our performances that we do at Chapman in the fall at the Musco as well. But what I wanted to do is have the students have the experience of being on stage with a professional company. I thought that we're there, this is the perfect opportunity for them to be immersed in a professional experience and to have that opportunity. And our students deserve it. And I wanted to make sure that they had that moment. And I'm excited about it. So yes, they're going to
Yeah.
open. They're going to open our show.
It is just oops, there goes my earbud. So I have to go find my earbud. I don't know what it is with this. They just don't like to stay in my ears. I think I just got so excited, and the earbuds got so excited the thought of our students opening up for Complexions that it
Popped
decided to
out.
spontaneously, yeah. But yeah, and I want to, really thank you for the commitment to our students and your generosity. And I know your Complexions is going to be at the Joyce later this fall, and we have some students heading out to New York City as
And
well.
we're taking one of the casts with us to New York, and they will
Amazing.
be on our program on the second week. We run 2 weeks in New York annually, and they're going to be a part of the second week. And that is again, educational initiatives for Complexions have always been front and center for Desmond and I. We love the idea of the next generation coming. Like we want to see where we're going, and we see where we're going through these young people. That's where we see it, and so it's just really like we always have young people on our. I'm adamant about it. My board
Yeah.
and everyone knows. Here comes Dwight. He's got the young people.
No, it's just an extraordinary opportunity. And I want to come back to your approach to teaching and Neek, your approach to teaching and the
Mhm.
technique that you've refined. But I start and just hear more about your development as a dancer and a choreographer, and then a teacher, mentor, coach. And so you're from, as I understand it, Dayton, Ohio. So how'd you get from Dayton, Ohio to the top stages in the world and a fantastic company?
I'm a lucky guy. Uh, I started so late. I started at 18.
Did
I
you?
was just a social dancer, and I had a lot of creativity. I grew up in a household with music and a grandmother who also taught art to elementary kids, and she was just very creative. So I grew up in that kind of an environment. And I just always danced. We all danced at home. We just danced. Music came on and we would dance. So I would make up these elaborate routines and I would enter a dance contest at school. And a young lady who was a professional dancer already came to me. It's a sort of a classic story and said, "You've got talent. I want you to come over to the Dayton Contemporary Dance Company. I want you to see what,
Oh,
being a dancer is really all about."
well, so it was right away that connection with the dance. Also, it's really interesting that you're kind of dancing. You were choreographing and making up dances from the get go. It sounds
I
like
was. I
that's
was making up
yeah.
what I will call routines. They were always elaborate. They had props. I had hats, and
Uh-huh.
I one time I danced with a cane, a cowboy hat. It was
Oh
just
wow.
wild. I was a young guy, just really excited. Loved music so much. Still do. And once I went into that building and saw the form being like, I had no exposure, like
Mm,
really. And I was like, oh, and I saw the seriousness and the focus of the dancers and the rigor and the physicality I really
yeah.
responded to. I love moving my body. I never left, Anne. I never,
Mm,
I was there and then they put me into the school and then I was in the second company right away because
wow.
they needed
Wow.
me.
So what was that like? I mean, even just, you had really to come up to speed with professional norms and the expectation. Was it daunting or was it exciting? Both, I can imagine.
I felt like I have, from a real sort of feels. I mean, I felt like I had found my way. I was
Uh,
very unfocused before, like in terms of I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm a senior in high school. You should know what's the next step, or you should at least have a
yeah.
direction. I was a little all over the place, if I'm being honest. And my mother was really like, what is this guy going to do? She was trying to help me focus. But anyway, dance did it for me. I
Mm,
saw it, and that was it. I was hooked. And, I mean, and then I had the nerve to go to the director. I was there for maybe like, I don't know, a few weeks, a couple months. And I said, "I'd love to choreograph a ballet for this entire company." I just went up to her. I don't know
wow.
protocol.
Well, that's a gift sometimes, be by being able to have the guts to do that. And was
Yeah.
the answer yes, I hope?
She said no.
Oh.
She said that, you need to, she's told me that I needed to, get some training. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, but I know how to like, pull things together.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Don't know what I don't know. But she was lovely in terms of like encouraging me to continue my training. And
Mm,
I have to tell you, like, I saw what was required of a professional dancer, and they were all so good and developed.
mm,
And I would immediately, when the day was done at Dayton Contemporary, I would go over to the ballet company, Dayton Ballet, and take
mm.
evening classes to, supplement my training because I knew if I'm going to have a career, I needed to get more training and I worked really hard. Like it was dance
Mm.
24/7, once I found it.
Once you found it, and that's interesting too, that you kind of your own volition were looking at the contemporary techniques and artistry and then ballet as well. So how long were you in with the company in Dayton?
Only about like 2.5, 3 years, 3 years
Mm-hmm.
actually.
3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I left and went to Le Ballet Jazz de Montreal, which was I back then I was, I started to get I did have talent and I had a decent body that was available for, many people pushed me in a ballet direction, but
Hmm.
I also thought, oh my gosh, it's so late. I'm getting to this so late. So I knew I needed to concentrate on ballet, but I also had more of a contemporary and modern focus to,
Mm.
what I performed. And so I sent my tapes all around. I knew I wanted to get out of my home city and just explore the
Hmm.
world a little bit. And, one of the auditions that came through was Le Ballet Jazz. So I went up there,
Wow.
auditioned, got the job, stayed there for about 2 years, two and a
Hmm.
half years. Had auditioned for Ailey throughout this time. And then I met Desmond because the Ailey company came to Toronto and I went to visit.
Yeah.
Well, I went to see the company. I drove down to see, and we met and danced all night. There was like an after party, and we just danced all night together, became really good friends. And he's like, "Are you coming to the audition? It's in a few weeks." And I was like, "Well, I've already auditioned twice. I don't think they like me." And Des was like, "Yeah, you should come back again. I know Alvin will like you. Just come back again." I was like, "Alvin knows me. He said no twice."
But that's it's interesting because I think even in conversations with our students and other young dancers, that sometimes like that resilience of knowing that you have to keep going for it, and even with the same company sometimes, right? And sometimes it's just not the right moment for them, and but just having that persistence. But good for you after two times, and then I guess it was three times the charm, right?
Three times the charm, right?
Wow.
I go into this audition, there's like 250 men, and
Uh,
it was crazy. And the only thing I can remember is that about 15 minutes into the audition or so, like after the ballet portion of it, he called me up to the table, and
mm.
I was like, oh my gosh, am I in trouble? Um, and he says, "You've got the job, but please don't do that turn again." Because there was a turn that I kept just like falling out of. There was a turn
Uh,
down to grand plie, like really deep, deep plie, and then came back out. And I just couldn't do it. And he said, "Dwight," and he called me by name. And I was like,
mm.
oh, so he does remember me. And he said, "You've got the job." And so now there's only one slot left, like after that.
Wow.
And I asked him, I said, "Can I continue with the audition? Because I want to learn as much as I can of what, well, he said, "Yes, but if that turn comes up, don't do it."
You want to flub up your opportunity with getting into Alien. Wow, that must have been wild doing that audition, knowing that you already had the job.
It was crazy. Like, yeah, I was so happy and I didn't even know how to be,
Mm.
and I didn't expect it because, and like starting as late as I did, I never ever thought I set my dreams,
Sure.
my aspirations were there, but I just didn't think that I was ready. I never
Mm.
thought I was ready. But I have a very bold sort of approach to dance. I love it, so I go for it. And I think that they recognize that passion and that, like you said, resilience. Like
Yeah.
I don't get bogged down with stuff. I am so focused on the movement that, I don't really doubt when I'm in the moment.
Yeah. So, we're talking about like not, are you ready? Are you ready? You kind of sort of never feel like you're ready, and you just have to dive in. I mean, something like, wow, you're an alien. And I imagine, was the company touring a lot at that time?
Oh yeah, it was near the last couple years of Alvin's life.
Uh,
So he wasn't well, but we were touring. I mean, the company was really busy. And, not being ready is like sometimes you don't know that, you're more ready than you think,
mhm.
because you have put in the work and the training. And I always tell dancers to, really trust their skill set
Yeah.
and maintain it as well. But also there's a sort of that kind of quiet confidence really shows up, and it shows up or it doesn't show up.
Right.
So I think that that's really, really kind of important for young
Hmm.
people. But yeah, the company was super busy. I was like thrown in right away. I went
Wow.
on tour. I danced right away.
That's amazing. And were you still making up routines, as you say, or?
I was, because when I was in Le Ballet Jazz, eventually I did a piece for the Dayton Contemporary Dance Company within those three
Oh,
years.
how
He finally
cool.
let me do it.
Yeah.
And then also at Le Ballet Jazz, I didn't do one on the company, but I was always doing independent projects on the
Hmm.
side. And my poor friends, I was always asking them to work with me on the side.
And I bet they were very happy to work with you
Well,
and
some of
have you
them,
work.
I was still really, cutting my teeth as a choreographer at that time, trying to figure out, but I knew I wanted to create. Got to Ailey and, started to create in the school, on the second company. And then finally, Judith Jamison, after Alvin passed, gave me the opportunity to do my first work on the company.
Wow.
And I ended up doing 3 commissions over the years when I
Amazing.
was there. So I was a dancer in the company, choreographing on my colleagues, and it was wonderful.
Oh,
Like
I can
it
imagine.
was incredible. And I'm so grateful that Judy gave me that
Mm.
opportunity. She saw something and and that's the reason that was the platform that a young choreographer needed. I mean, what better platform than to do a
Yeah,
ballet?
yeah, yeah, Alvin Ailey, yeah. And doing several works. So you really had the opportunity to kind of evolve your relationship with the company and the dancers and the work. And
Yeah.
so then how does the, complexions come about and how did that happen?
Well, Desmond and I, we ended up dancing together a lot at Ailey.
Hmm.
Like choreographers would come in and sometimes there'd be a duo or something, and we also danced the same roles, and we became very good friends, and we started working together a lot. He was my inspiration. Desmond, for anybody who has never seen Desmond Richardson dance, he's quite a unique artist, one that
Absolutely.
is so powerful yet so poetic.
Hmm.
And we just hit it off. And he was game, he was hungry. So
Hmm.
any idea I wanted to like work out, he was willing. So again, a lucky guy. I feel like a lucky guy. I had this incredible dancer to really become. He really became my muse, and
Mm,
I
yeah.
started making work. And so we had gotten to, I was in the company for about 7 years, and Desmond was there for 8, and plus he was also in the school and the second company. So he's been with the organization a long time, and we were wanting to move on. We had
Hmm.
had an amazing time there, but Desmond was going on to Frankfurt Ballet to dance with William Forsythe. And I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I needed to choreograph. I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to make things. And so we decided that we had this bright idea. We were going to invite all these different people from different companies around the country and do one show, one series of shows at Symphony Space, which is 95th and Broadway in New York City. And we put that together by literally calling people sometimes that we just admired,
Yeah.
you know. Some people we knew, of course, and we put together that first show. And this was a one-time thing, and this was not about making a company.
Right.
And we got into the tech rehearsal, looked at the stage of all these people that would have never necessarily crossed paths
Hmm.
professionally, because in 94, we were in our camps. It was modern
Hmm.
dance, ballet, it was pretty segregated in
Very
a way.
divided. Yeah.
And we said, look at what's happening and on the stage, like the beauty of all of these different things working in a beautiful way together. And we were like, this is like a message of unity. And we just got so inspired. We're like, we've got to do something with this. And we started the company.
Wow, that's and what an amazing experience I can imagine for those dancers, doing your work, but also having the opportunity to be inspired and learn from,
Oh, you're
from
so
other.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's wow. So the company, well, now you are like, we've got to have a company after and keep, you and Desmond keeping the spirit of this going. But then how does it work that you actually, the all of the elements, including funding and finding the dancers and all of that? How did that unfold?
So it eventually evolved. When we first started, no one got paid, but we had the likes of people like Christina Johnson, Jody Gates.
Yeah.
We had these stars along with some dancers who were maybe a little bit earlier along their journey in their career. Like we had a real mix, and we still do. So one of the things that I love about Complexions is that now we have sort of crystallized that moment that we started in a more evolved, comprehensive, stable way where people do get, we do have a full company that's on salary and doing their thing for quite a number of years now, but it evolved out of that first iteration. And we really kept the idea of diversity, multitude of styles, the beauty of music, meaning that we don't want only one type of music in the evening.
Mhm.
We want all types of music, themes. We also wanted to reflect the world we live in. So we sometimes take on, very meaty issues that we're all facing in here in America and in the world. So there's a real world view to what we do. And I'm so proud that we have remained really on course. And that's been my job, is to keep the focus of who and what we are consistent over the years. It can be tough, because you can be
Mhm.
swayed or this way or that way. But I've learned so much being in this position for 30 years. I learned it's on the job
On
training.
the job training, yeah. No one ever teaches you how to run a company, right? And keep it going for that many decades, which is the real, that's the real accomplishment, I think. And to
Mhm.
keep your company evolving and growing and your own work as a choreographer. What
Mhm.
so you were obviously, choreographing the works for Complexions, but you also choreographed on so many extraordinary dancers in other companies. So tell
Mhm.
us how that works when you're, keeping Complexion going in your role there for so
Yeah.
long, but also having opportunities, to choreograph elsewhere.
I think, that's one big pleasure I have as a dance maker is that I also get to work with some of the top companies around the
Yeah.
world. But the beautiful thing about that is I get to experience other dancers, and they feed me, and they also really help me grow as a creator, because I'm one of those choreographers that, like, whoever is in front of me, and I know a lot of people say this, but this is so true for me. When the people are there, that's what I go with. I
Mm.
follow them. I've been telling my students at Chapman since I've been on faculty, I'm following you, especially in a choreographic process, meaning I have my ideas and my structure when I walk in the room, but I am completely affected by what happens once we start moving. And I
Yeah.
see their beauty and what they bring, their stories emerge as well. And then, my job is to organize all of that into a cohesive work. And I'm just, that part of what I do, I love. So that's why I love going to all these other companies, because
Yeah,
I'm
no.
able to get new perspectives. And yeah, I always tell them, I said, I'm just the organizer here. No, I'm not just the
Yeah, no,
organizer.
you're not just the organizer. But it's a
I'm
good thing to
not.
tell,
Yes.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I really love the only reason that I'm still doing this 31 years later, meaning that's just the company, but then there's my career as a dancer too, is because of the people, the
Mm.
artists. They are the reason, and they will be the reason until I stop. They are the reason for why I do this and
Yeah.
why I'm still doing it, because they still give me the inspiration.
Well,
So
that's amazing. And I mean, and it's very clear that with, with your dancers and Complexions and elsewhere, but certainly with our students, that real um, affection for and commitment to and really caring about their development and well-being is really extraordinary. So now looking at, Dwight the teacher, the mentor. And I want to kind of go back to what you were talking about with Complexions, and how varied the repertoire that's created for them and the opportunities are. So tell me about the training that because we're love watching you teach, and
Oh.
your that how you use Neek, which you call it. So tell us about that, and how you as a teacher evolved from working with the company, and then with young dance students like here at Chapman.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Neek is the foundational technique of complexions, but it is also it's a contemporary ballet training system that really uses classical ballet merged with contemporary and modern movement,
Mm,
where the torso is really involved, on center, off center is involved, mobility, momentum, ignition. Like we're looking at very contemporary concepts framed in a classical, or I would say neoclassical
mhm,
contemporary ballet way. And this was developed because Desmond and I used to warm ourselves up before our rehearsals at Ailey, and I thought, we always took a ballet class, but I wanted to incorporate more upper body. So I started giving class, and I started to develop this. And then he would also infuse his elements as well, like what he wanted to do and how we would
mhm,
warm up. And it came about, and and then we left it for a moment and started the company. And then we looked at each other and we were like, we should bring that warm up we used to do to the company.
uh-huh,
And then it started to build out. And then over the years, I just started to, quote unquote, codify in a way, informally at first. But we really have the system is really, really working. And, we also have an academy, Complexions Contemporary
mhm,
Ballet Academy, and programs throughout the country, winter, spring, summer. We always have a program running, and it's so Neek is that thing that really connects the dots,
mhm.
from the movement itself, the training into the company repertory. So it's a real connection, uh,
Yeah.
to
It's
it.
interesting because I've watched when I watch you teach the students at Chapman, and once they've had a little bit of their starting feel, a little more grounded and a little more familiar, that their sense of freedom and expressiveness that you pull out of them, even in a class, is really extraordinary. It's really it's very satisfying to see that how they kind of blossom through that unique
They're
approach.
so I was teaching yesterday, and this my first day with this semester. It was just brilliant. Like I had a lot of the people I've had over the last couple years, they
Mhm.
were just there. And I was so proud. I was so proud of them. And they were like, I was like, look, I'm smiling, guys. And this is day one.
No, that's and again, thank you for all that you bring to your students here at Chapman, and the opportunities for them. It's been amazing to talk with you, Dwight, and we're really so excited. Complexions Contemporary Ballet, Saturday, October 18th. It's just going to be an incredible evening. I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Well, take care. I know that you are off now to do more teaching, I think.
Yes, I am.
Well, have a great class, Dwight, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. It was a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Anne. Thank you.
Okay, take care.